Master promises and asynchronous JavaScript to write cleaner, more dynamic JavaScript code for Lightning Web Components. Welcome everyone. In today's session, we are going to talk about promises and asynchronous JavaScript. So without wasting any time further, let's proceed with the video. Now first things first, what is asynchronous programming? Now asynchronous programming allows multiple tasks to run in parallel without blocking the main thread. Now generally what happens in programming, if you assign a task, even if you are having multiple functions and your main task is running, so when your main task is running and that time you are calling any subtask to be executed, the main thread will move from the main task to the subtask and perform that. So the total CPU time taken will depend on all the tasks, including main task and all the subtasks that are to be performed. But in case of asynchronous programming, your main task need not to wait for your subtask to perform the execution. You can start the execution of the subtask without waiting for it to complete. You can proceed ahead with your main task. That's what asynchronous programming is all about. So why asynchronous in JavaScript? Now JavaScript is single threaded. So asynchronous tasks improve performance by not blocking the main thread. JavaScript is a single threaded programming where program executes in one single thread. The same example that I told. But here if we will be able to implement asynchronous tasks, it will improve the performance of JavaScript because it will not block the main thread and the subtasks or the subthreads can execute simultaneously. The examples of places where asynchronous tasks can be used, like network requests, file input output or timers. In all these situations we need some asynchronous tasks to be performed because we want the task to be performed simultaneously. Now one of the way we achieve asynchronous in JavaScript is by use of promises. So the basics of promises. Now what is promise? A promise represents a task that may be completed in the future. Now these are definitely asynchronous tasks, right? So why promises? Because it represents a task that will be executed in future and not now. So that's why a promise that will be executed in future. Now there are different states of promises. Promises can be in pending state, which is the initial state of promise where operation is not yet completed. Fulfilled state is a state where operation completed successfully, and rejected state is a state where operation is failed. Basically when an asynchronous task is performed using promises, that will be in any of these states. Now how to use promises in JavaScript? First of all, we have to create a promise. Now to create a promise, we will create it just like we create any other object of a class. We will call new keyword along with the constructor, so new promise. And within that, we have to pass an arrow function. Now this arrow function will accept two parameters. One is resolve and one is reject. And using these two parameters, we will write down the whole arrow function inside it. Now resolve represents the data for success, whereas reject represents the error data for failure. Now why data and error is passed as parameter? Because resolve and reject are themselves functions. Now resolve is a function which will be executed when the promise has been resolved, and reject is a function which will be executed in the failure state of promises. So these callback functions are passed as parameter to the arrow function that is being passed in the constructor of promise. So I know there are a lot of stuff over here, so let's see that practically. Okay guys, so here we are in our VS Code and you can see I have created a folder Async.js, and inside that folder I am having Promise.html and Promise.js. Now inside that Promise.html, what I just included that Promise.js, and inside Promise.js I created an object of promise. Now this object name is myPro, just to distinguish it. In the syntax of slide you might have seen the variable name as promise. It can be anything. Okay. Now here inside the constructor of this promise object, I just did what? I am having one resolve, reject and an arrow function. Now if I paste that, so this is the arrow function with two parameters. One is resolve, one is reject. Now to this arrow function, I have defined one set timeout. Now what does this set timeout does? Set timeout accepts a function and calls that function after a certain milliseconds. So here I mentioned 1000 milliseconds. So after 1 second it will call this function, and this function is doing what? It is doing nothing but calling this resolve function. Now I told you resolve is actually a callback. So now this resolve callback function will be called after 1 second. Okay, so that's how we define a promise. Now if I just remove this set timeout for now, this is just a normal definition of promise. Now inside this promise I have to define when to resolve and when to reject. So for now I am not taking any decision, I am just calling the resolve function and passing this data received after 1 second. That's it. Now how to call this promise, that I will tell you in a while. So let me just run this HTML. For that we will come down and we will click on this go live, and here is the output. Now let me show them side by side. Now definitely I will show you how you are going to call this promise object, but for now let's move to the slide. Now handling promise with .then and .catch. Now this is how we call promises, and at the time we call the promise we have to handle them as well, because you know promise can be fulfilled or promise can fail. So then block represents the block which will actually be executed when the promise is fulfilled, or that means when the resolve is called in the promise, and catch specifically is called when the reject is called in the promise. Now in case of multiple promises we can also deal with .then catch chaining. This is called chaining promises, in which .then calls for sequential asynchronous task which itself will have a then and a catch. Real world application in LWC. Now fetching data from an API and updating the UI based on response is basically done with the help of promises in LWC. So promises are used a lot of time in LWC. So let's see how we will call the promise and handle it. Now after creating the promise you can call the promise. So I am calling my pro, and then I will call it by using .then and .catch. Now these two things I need to create. So how I usually create them is, at the time I am calling my pro, that same time I will call .then and then .catch, and then I will keep them in separate lines like .then and then .catch. Then after both these blocks or both these sections .then and .catch will have an arrow function. Now this arrow function will be called depending upon whether resolve is being called from the promise or reject is being called. Now both these arrow functions receives one parameter. We generally write it as data and error. Why? Because then is getting called when the promise is getting successful, so definitely we will get some data from there, and catch is being called when it is being failed, so definitely we will get some error from there. Right now I am doing just a small stuff. I am just printing this data and error. So I am writing down console log and data inside it, and similarly inside catch or the arrow function of the catch I will have console.log and error over there. Now let me come to the output, refresh it, but before that let me open the console. Now let me refresh it. Now after 1 second it will print data received. Now what will happen if I will return reject over here? So what I am doing is I am having two set timeout. One set timeout is calling the resolve, the other one let it call the reject, and this will return data rejected. And I will call the reject in 500 milliseconds and I will call the resolve in 1000 milliseconds. So definitely reject will be returned first. So right now you can see here data rejected is being called. Now how to distinguish it is, when data is getting received, let me print success, and when error is getting received, let me print error. Also instead of console.log, let me do console.error. So you can see here error is shown, data rejected. If I do the reverse, that means resolve it in 500 milliseconds and reject it in 1000 and save it, definitely data will be received. Now right now I am not having any criteria over here, but generally in promises what we do, we will have criteria. We might be receiving some values from somewhere. If the value is received, then we return resolve from here. If the value is not received, definitely we will call reject from here. We won't use set timeouts at that time. Right now I just use set timeout as a tool to explain you how a promise works. Now async await is actually a syntactic sugar for handling promises, making code look synchronous. So basically This is a way where we handle asynchronous code and make it work synchronously. Something that is just opposite of we were doing right now, right? But the advantage of it is it makes cleaner code, hence code becomes more readable. It is easier to handle asynchronous flows without complex chaining. Now, a few minutes back I told you, right, there can be multiple asynchronous functions and there you might need to end up with complex chaining. In LWC, you might see these situations frequently. Now, async await is a methodology where we handle those asynchronous situations synchronously. Because when the situation is asynchronous, when the things are getting handled simultaneously, you cannot rely that before running this task, I would certainly have the value from that method that I need. So in those situations, things need to be handled synchronously. And async await is a remedy in those awkward situations. Now the basic syntax is we have async function that marks a function as asynchronous, and await is a keyword that we use to pause the function until the promise is resolved. Now to show this working, let me take you back to the previous example. So guys, right now you can see what I did is I called this whole myPro inside this call myPro function. Now this call myPro function is doing what? It is first calling the myPro, that is the promise, and after that it is printing one statement. Right now I just written down that just a dependent statement. Now let's suppose the execution of this statement depends on the result of this. Right now that is not possible. There are plenty of ways to resolve it, but right now it is not possible. I am coming on the page and just refreshing it. So right now you see it is already printing just a dependent statement, and then after the data received, that means this part is printed. Hence it proves that the dependent statement is executed before the result is coming. So how to resolve it? So one of the way to resolve it is to try calling this out inside the then. Now it is obvious, of course, in that situation it will be resolved. But what if this statement needs to be executed with some value after catch as well? Let's suppose we are assigning some value in then and some value in catch, and depending upon that value, this statement have to be executed. Then definitely we have to repeat this statement twice. We have to keep it here and we have to keep it here. Then only it is possible, right? There is one more way to resolve it, is to use async await. For that, what we need to do is we need to keep this statement outside the then and catch, and instead of the then and catch, what you can do is you can have a variable const. You can store the result over here, and then you can call the myPro and use await function over here. So it will wait for the result coming from myPro. Whatsoever result will come, right now it is coming data received, so that is the result which is coming, will come here. Okay, and then after, what we can do, we can print that thing console.log result. But right now it is showing error. The reason is this await keyword can be called in a function which is having an async keyword, and right now that error will be gone. So this is the way you can have an async function, and then with the help of async function you can have any promise called inside it with the help of await keyword. It will wait for the result and then only it will proceed ahead. Now right now I have called it as a function because generally we call them as a function, but here we will call it as a promise because this is myPro is a promise, so it won't be called as a function, simply myPro. And if I will save this, now you can clearly see after 2 seconds it will give me a result data received, and then after it is printed. So this await is making it to wait no matter how many times or how many milliseconds I will add here. So that is the advantage of having async await. Using async await in LWC. So typical scenarios in LWC is when we are making any external API call and depending upon the data coming from there. So that time we have to wait till the data is coming from there. Or handling background tasks like calculations or data manipulations. In such situation also we use async await. Handling async functions. So async functions are handled in LWC by using loading indicators. So we show a spinner or loading message while awaiting a response. So we can't make our user just to wait over there for 2 seconds without notifying anything. So in those situations we use spinners. So basically to show that right now the page is getting loaded, there is something that is happening in the background, and wait for a while. Common asynchronous patterns. Now Promise.all is another use of promises where we run multiple promises parallelly and waits for all to resolve. It is useful for fetching multiple resources simultaneously. Promise.race returns the result of the first settled promise, useful for handling timeouts or competing tasks. Suppose there are 5 or 6 asynchronous tasks that are operating, and you want to perform something once all the tasks are completed. So in those situations, Promise.all is very useful. Now suppose there is a scenario where you are having multiple tasks. You want to go ahead with the one which completes it first. In that situation, Promise.race is used. Now let me show you that practically. Okay guys, so here in the same JavaScript, what I did is I created 3 promises, myPro1, myPro2 and myPro3. Each of them is actually calling the resolve, so only resolve is getting called. The only thing is, first one is returning data received at 1, this one is 2 and this one has 3, and this one is getting returned at 2 seconds, at 1 second and half second. Now how I called it, inside this call myPro, well this need not to be called here inside anything, so I just remove it from inside and let me keep it outside. So here what I did is I call the Promise.all. Now the Promise.all function accepts promises but as part of an array. So that's why I created the array symbol and pass all the 3 promises inside it. Now this will return the result, but this will wait for all the promises to get returned over here. And when does that happens? When I am calling the result.then and result.catch. Let me show you the output of it. So if I am saving it, and here you can see after 2 seconds it is printing data received at 1, data received at 2, data received at 3, all the 3 results as part of an array. Now if I call Promise.race and save this, see what happens. So Promise.race ended early, ended at half of a second itself. Because in Promise.race, all the promises that are passed as a part of array, whomsoever wins the race or whomsoever returns first, that will be considered as the result and that will be printed over here. So that's how we use Promise.all and Promise.race. Practical tips for asynchronous JavaScript in LWC. Now always use try-catch with async await. Now though I haven't used over there, but it is always recommended and advised to use try-catch whenever you are using async await, so that the error handling can be robust and any kind of app crashes can be prevented. Leverage loading indicators. So just like I told you about the spinner, so those kind of loading indicators should be used so that the user can understand that right now some sort of process is going on and he have to wait so that the UI can be updated. Use Promise.all judiciously to optimize performance for parallel tasks. Now that marks the end of this video. See you soon in the next video. Till then, thank you and take care.